My future mother-in-law looks me dead in the eye, says, "Your parents don't belong at this wedding. I've already invited my friends to take their seats." I smile sweetly. Reply, "Perfect. Neither do you." What happens next absolutely destroys her perfect little world. I'm Sarah, 26. This nuclear explosion happened 3 months ago. Feels like a lifetime. My fiancé David and I had been together 4 years, engaged 8 months. Everything seemed perfect. Until his mother Margaret decided to stage a hostile takeover of our wedding. The bomb drops on a Tuesday evening. We're at Margaret's house. Weekly dinner. A tradition I'd grown to dread. Margaret's always been particular. The kind of woman who looks you up and down when she sees you. Interesting choice of outfit. Who corrects your grammar in front of others? It's whom, not who, dear. Who makes little comments about everything. That doesn't really suit you. But David was worth dealing with her quirks. Or so I thought. Tonight feels different, though. She's been eyeing me all evening. That calculating look I've learned to fear. We're discussing final head count when she drops the first bomb. "Oh, Sarah, I've been meaning to tell you. I've had to make changes to the seating arrangements." Adjustments? I'm helping David with dishes, not really paying attention. "Yes, well, your parents' table. I've given those seats to the Ashfords. You know the family that owns the hotel chain. They're much more appropriate for the front section." The plate in my hand stops moving. "I'm sorry, what?" Margaret doesn't even look up from her wine. Takes a slow sip, like she's savoring this moment. "Your parents will be fine at table 12. It's near the back entrance. But honestly, they'll probably be more comfortable there anyway. Closer to people like them. People like them." "Mom, what are you talking about?" David's face goes white, but Margaret's just getting started. She sets down her wine glass, looks me dead in the eye. "Darling, this is a $100,000 wedding. We need to consider appearances. The Ashfords are influential people. Sarah's parents are well." She pauses, pretends to think. "They're lovely, I'm sure, but they're a nurse and a high school teacher. They don't exactly fit the aesthetic we're going for." "Aesthetic?" My voice comes out as a whisper. "Yes, dear, aesthetic. Look, I've seen the photos from your family gatherings. Your mother's casual approach to fashion. Your father's worn-out suits. It's just not the image we want to project." My hands start shaking. She's talking about the photos from my sister's graduation, where my parents looked so proud, so happy. "Plus," Margaret continues, warming up now, "frankly, I'm concerned about conversations. The Ashfords travel to Europe twice a year. They have homes in the Hamptons. What would your parents even talk to them about? Grading papers? Hospital shifts?" She laughs. A cold, cruel sound. David finally finds his voice. "Mom, you can't just move her parents away from the family table." "Oh, but I can, and I have. The Ashfords RSVP'd this morning. They're delighted to sit with proper society." She turns back to me. "Sarah, surely you understand. Your parents will be so much more comfortable with the other working people, the caterers' families, the photographer's wife, people on their level." Their level. "Actually," she continues, getting more excited, "I've been thinking, maybe your parents could help with some of the wedding tasks. Your mother could assist with coat check. Your father could help direct parking, make them feel useful." The room starts spinning. "Oh, and another thing. I've had to make a change to the processional. I've asked my niece Caroline to be your maid of honor instead of your sister. Caroline's graduated from Yale. She'll photograph better." "What?" I can barely speak. "She's a bit more down to earth, community college, post-baby life. I'm just not sure the couture bridesmaid's dress will work on her." David's jaw drops. "Mom, you can't." "David, I'm trying to help. This wedding will be in all the society pages. We need to think about optics." She turns back to me. "Sarah, dear, you're not thinking practically. This wedding is David's dream, and frankly, my investment. I've put $75,000 into this event. Your contribution, while appreciated, doesn't quite give you veto power over my decisions." Margaret picks up her wine again, takes another sip, Smiles that poisonous smile. Dead silence in that kitchen. The plate slips from my shaking hands, crashes to the floor, shatters into a million pieces. Just like my heart. Then I start laughing. Not happy laughing. The kind when something breaks inside you. You know what, Margaret? You're absolutely right. This is your show, your investment, your aesthetic. I turn to David. I need to ask you something. Need a completely honest answer. Do you agree with your mother? David looks panicked. Sarah, It's complicated. She has put a lot of money into this. If it makes her happy? That's all I need to hear. The man I thought I loved. Willing to humiliate my parents for his mother's social climbing. Okay, I say quietly. I understand perfectly. I walk out of that house. Drive straight to my parents' place. Tell them what happened. My father just nods grimly. My mother hugs me. Sweetheart, Dad says, if that's how they see us, maybe it's better we know now. Next morning, I call Margaret. I've been thinking about what you said. You're right. This should be your perfect wedding with your perfect guests. She sounds smugly satisfied. I'm so glad you understand, Sarah. This will be so much better for everyone. Absolutely. That's why I'm withdrawing from the wedding entirely. Since it's your event and your money, you and David can have exactly the wedding you want. Without me. Silence stretches for 10 seconds. Sarah, you can't be serious. I'm completely serious. I'm calling the minister today, letting her know the bride won't be attending. You can invite whoever you want. Sit wherever you want. Problem solved. You're being ridiculous. You can't cancel a wedding over seating arrangements. Margaret, you made it very clear my family isn't good enough for your event. Since I come from that same family, I'm obviously not good enough either. I'm saving you the embarrassment of having a nurse's daughter as a daughter-in-law. I hang up. Immediately call the minister. The caterer I'd hired. The string quartet my family paid for. Explain the situation. Cancel my portion of the services. Then I do something that feels absolutely perfect. Call my parents and siblings. Tell them to keep that Saturday free. We're having a family celebration at the local botanical garden. Same place where my parents had their wedding reception 25 years ago. All they could afford back then. We're going to show them what class really looks like, I tell my family. David calls me crying within an hour. Sarah, please, we can fix this. Mom was just stressed about the wedding. She didn't mean it. David, you had the chance to stand up for my parents. For me. You chose not to. You were willing to let them be humiliated for your mother's social climbing. That tells me everything I need to know about who you really are. But I love you. We can have a different wedding somewhere else. With the same people who think my family isn't good enough? No thanks. The meltdown is epic. Margaret calls me screaming. About deposits and vendors. How I'm ruining David's life. I calmly explain that since she made it clear this was her event, and her money, the problems are hers to solve. Besides, I add, you can still have your perfect wedding. Just find David a more appropriate bride. Maybe one of the Ashford daughters is available. The Saturday that was supposed to be my wedding day. My family throws the most incredible celebration at Willowbrook Gardens. Potluck that puts any catered meal to shame. Kids running around playing games. My cousin's band playing music. My grandmother telling stories that have everyone crying from laughing. We take pictures all day. Real, genuine, happy pictures. Family that loves each other unconditionally. And yes, we post them online. Captions like, family first, and real love, real joy. The contrast couldn't be more stark. While Margaret's apparently scrambling to explain to 200 guests why there's no bride. We're celebrating what actually matters. The fallout is spectacular. Word gets around town quickly. The reaction is not what Margaret expected. Story spreads like wildfire. My sister posts a video recap on TikTok. Goes viral. When keeping it classy goes wrong. Gets 2.3 million views. Friends reach out. Tell me they're horrified by Margaret's behavior. Even her own social circle questions her judgment. The Ashfords are mortified. Mrs. Ashford calls my mother to apologize. David's devastated. but more about embarrassment than losing me. Margaret tries a different approach. Has David offer a compromise? Separate reception for my family the next weekend. Consolation prize party. I don't dignify that with a response. Margaret's perfect social wedding becomes the town's biggest gossip story. Her country club friends are divided. The club itself is embarrassed after the TikTok goes viral. David starts telling people I abandoned him over a misunderstanding. But 3 weeks later, I get a call from a local newspaper reporter. Someone nominated my family's garden celebration for their community spirit feature. Article comes out with beautiful pictures. Headline reads, "Local family shows real class in face of adversity." Margaret's furious, calls the newspaper to complain, makes things worse. Then comes the final twist. David calls me crying yesterday, says he made a terrible mistake, begging for another chance, apparently struggling with the social fallout, realized his mother's values aren't making him happy. "I miss you," he sobs. "I miss your family. I want to make this right." But here's the thing. I've had a month to think clearly. This wasn't just about a seating chart. This was about someone I loved being willing to hurt people I loved for social status. His mother, having so little respect for me and my family, thought she could just erase us from our own wedding. "David," I tell him, "you had the chance to show what kind of person you really are. You did. You chose status over love, appearances over integrity. That's not something you can just apologize away. But people make mistakes. I was confused, torn between you and my mother." "You weren't torn, David. You made a choice. Chose to let my parents be humiliated rather than stand up to your mother. That's who you are when the pressure's on." I hang up. Block his number. But Margaret wasn't done. Life's been remarkably peaceful. The whole experience taught me something valuable about people's true character. What really matters. My family's bond is stronger than ever. My parents told me they were proud of how I handled the situation. My siblings keep joking that I dodged a bullet. They're not wrong. Margaret and David had a massive falling out after the newspaper article. David apparently blamed his mother for ruining his life. Margaret blamed David for not handling me better. Their perfect mother-son relationship imploded under the weight of their own toxicity. Social consequences for Margaret were lasting. Several country club friends distanced themselves. She apparently resigned from 2 committees after the continued gossip became too much. But then something happens that I never see coming. 3 weeks ago, having coffee with my friend Emma. She shows me something on her phone, makes my blood run cold. "Sarah, isn't this your ex's mom?" It's a Facebook post from Margaret. Long, dramatic essay about ungrateful young people and family betrayal. But that's not the shocking part. The shocking part is what she tagged it with. Hashtag my story will be heard. Hashtag justice for Margaret. Hashtag truth will come out. She's planning something. I screenshot everything. Show Michael that night. He's a paramedic, dating someone new, someone from a family much like mine. He reads through Margaret's posts with growing concern. "Sarah, this woman sounds unhinged. Look at this." Shows me another post from 2 days later. "Some people think they can destroy a family's reputation and walk away. They're wrong." My stomach drops. Next morning, get a call from my sister Rachel. She's crying. "Sarah, you need to see this. Margaret is trying to destroy you online." I open my laptop. My heart stops. Margaret created an entire website called The Truth About Sarah Mitchell, complete with photos she somehow obtained, fabricated stories about my character, detailed accounts of how I manipulated David and destroyed their family. The worst part? She made it look professional, like a news site, even written fake testimonials from people claiming to know me. Sarah Mitchell is a gold digger who targeted my son for his family's money. When she couldn't control our wedding planning, she threw a tantrum and abandoned him at the altar. She's vindictive, selfish, and dangerous to any man who gets involved with her. I feel sick reading it, but it gets worse. She somehow found my work email, been sending the link to my colleagues at the marketing firm. My boss calls me into her office that afternoon. "Sarah, I don't know what this is about, Someone's been sending very concerning information about you to our clients. I explain the whole situation to my boss. She thankfully believes me. But the damage is spreading. Margaret found my social media accounts, commenting on every post with links to her website. Found my parents' Facebook pages, doing the same thing there. This woman has completely lost it, my dad says when I go over for dinner. She contacted half the school board, telling them I'm an unfit teacher because I raised a daughter who destroys families. That's it. I'd stayed quiet, tried to take the high road. But Margaret crossed every line imaginable. I call my cousin Jake, the one who made the viral TikTok. He's a lawyer specializing in online harassment and defamation. Sarah, this is serious stuff. She created an entire defamatory website about you. We need to document everything, prepare for legal action. But before we can file anything, the most unexpected thing happens. David calls me. But this time, he's not crying or begging. He's furious. Sarah, I need to tell you something about my mother. You're going to find very hard to believe. My hands are shaking as I answer. David, if this is another attempt to... It's not. Sarah, my mother is completely insane. And I have proof. He found something while helping Margaret clear out her spare room. Box of documents and photos she'd been hiding. Sarah, she's been planning this for months, even before our wedding got canceled. She has files on you, on your family. She hired a private investigator to dig up dirt on your parents. I can't breathe. There's more. She has a whole folder of other women I've dated over the years. She's done this before, destroyed my relationship with Emma 3 years ago by spreading rumors at her workplace. Got Jennifer fired from her job by calling her boss with lies. The room is spinning. David, are you saying your mother has been systematically destroying your relationships? For years, Sarah. I found emails between her and her sister, discussing how to protect the family reputation by getting rid of unsuitable women. Your name was on a list. She called you Project Sarah. Project Sarah. Like I was a problem to be solved. David, why are you telling me this now? Because she escalated to a level that could actually hurt innocent people. Your parents don't deserve this. And because I found something else in that box. You need to know about... What? Marriage certificates. Sarah, my mother's been married 4 times. Not twice like she told everyone. 4 times. The reason her previous marriages ended, it's all in the divorce papers. He found court documents detailing Margaret's pattern of behavior. Harassment of in-laws. Destruction of her husband's family relationships. Vindictive campaigns against anyone who challenged her control. She's done this before, multiple times. Drives away anyone who threatens her control over her children. I'm speechless. Sarah, I'm going to help you stop her. I'll testify about everything I found. Go public with her pattern of behavior. She can't keep destroying people's lives. Next day. David and I meet with my cousin Jake. David brings the entire box of evidence. What we find is disturbing beyond belief. Margaret had detailed files on not just me, every woman David had ever shown interest in. Photos, background checks, family information, employment details, social media monitoring. She'd been conducting surveillance operations on her own son's love life. The Project Sarah folder is the thickest. She documented every family dinner, every conversation, every interaction. She planned the seating chart confrontation specifically to create maximum humiliation. But the most shocking discovery is a notebook titled Reputation Management Strategy. In her own handwriting, Margaret outlined her plan to destroy me after the wedding cancellation, the website, the workplace harassment, the attacks on my family. She planned all of it. This is criminal harassment, Jake says, photographing every page. We have enough evidence to file charges and get restraining orders. We spend the next week building our case. David's incredibly helpful, providing testimony about his mother's history of manipulation and control. But Margaret isn't done. 2 days before we're going to file charges, she makes her biggest mistake yet. She shows up at my workplace. I'm in a client meeting. Security calls my office. Sarah, there's a woman in the lobby demanding to see you. She's causing quite a scene. I go downstairs. Find Margaret in the middle of the lobby, holding printed copies of her website. shouting at anyone who will listen. "This woman works here. She's a fraud and a manipulator. She destroyed my family." Security's trying to escort her out. She's resisting, getting more agitated. "You all need to know what kind of person you're employing. She's dangerous." I pull out my phone, start recording, evidence for the harassment case. But then Margaret sees me, completely loses it. There she is! The woman who destroyed my son's life. She's a gold-digging manipulator. She lunges toward me, still shouting. Security has to physically restrain her. The entire lobby is watching. My colleagues are staring. Clients are filming. Margaret's public meltdown is the final nail in her own coffin. Security calls the police. Margaret's arrested for trespassing and disturbing the peace. The incident is captured on building security cameras, multiple phone videos, by that evening. Crazy mother-in-law workplace meltdown is trending on social media. But this time, the viral attention works in my favor. People start digging into Margaret's background. Her pattern of behavior with David's previous girlfriends comes to light. Other women start coming forward, their own stories of harassment and manipulation. The website she created about me is exposed as a defamatory attack by a woman with a documented history of stalking behavior. Her arrest video goes viral for all the wrong reasons. Comments pour in supporting me, calling out Margaret's obvious mental instability. 3 months later, justice served, Margaret pled guilty to harassment charges, sentenced to community service, anger management classes, restraining order prohibiting her from contacting me or my family. Her defamatory website was taken down by court order. She was required to issue public apologies, pay damages for the harm she caused to my reputation. David used the publicity to go public about his mother's pattern of abusive behavior, started dating someone new. Wonderful woman named Lisa. Margaret will never get the chance to terrorize, because David finally cut contact completely. The country club expelled Margaret after the arrest video went viral. Her remaining social circle abandoned her entirely. As for me, I'm thriving. Michael and I got engaged last month. When he proposed, he said, "I love you. And I love your family, all of them. Forever." We're planning a simple wedding at the Botanical Garden, where my family celebrated that day. My parents will sit at the family table, where they belong. Margaret wanted to destroy my reputation, isolate me from everyone I loved. Instead, she showed the world exactly who she was. A controlling, manipulative woman, so desperate to maintain power. She'd destroy innocent people to get it. Sometimes the best revenge really is just letting people reveal their true nature to the world. Margaret revealed hers, and the world saw exactly what kind of person targets a nurse and a teacher for not being good enough for her son. The viral fame she got wasn't the kind she wanted, but it was exactly what she deserved. What I learned: when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. David showed me he was weak. He'd rather blame circumstances than face the truth about his mother. He'd throw away our relationship for social status. Margaret showed me she was cruel. She'd destroy her own son's happiness just to prove she was right about social hierarchy. And I showed myself that I was stronger than both of them combined. Real love doesn't come with conditions about your family's job titles. Real partnership means standing up for each other when it matters most. Real class isn't about money or connections. It's about how you treat people who can't do anything for you. My parents taught me those values by living them every day. Margaret tried to make me ashamed of where I came from. Instead, she made me realize it's exactly where I belong. The Botanical Garden celebration wasn't just a consolation prize. It was a celebration of everything that actually matters. Family who loves you unconditionally, friends who show up when it counts, the courage to walk away from people who don't value what makes you who you are. David kept saying he wanted to make this right. But you can't make something right that was fundamentally wrong from the beginning. A relationship built on the foundation that one family is worth more than another was never going to survive. Margaret thought she was teaching me a lesson about my place in the world. Instead, she taught me that my place is anywhere I'm valued and respected, and right now, that place is as far away from her toxicity as possible. I'm living my best life now. with someone who thinks my family is incredible, with parents who are proud of me for standing up for what's right, with the knowledge that I'll never again settle for someone who sees my worth as negotiable. Margaret got her perfect aesthetic wedding venue. Empty. Brideless. A monument to everything shallow and meaningless about prioritizing image over substance. I got something better. I got my integrity intact, my family's respect. A future with someone who understands that where you come from isn't nearly as important as who you choose to be. Sometimes walking away from what looks perfect on paper is exactly what leads you to what's actually perfect for your life. And that's the most beautiful thing of all.